हेलो एवरीवन, गुड इवनिंग टू ऑल ऑफ यू। डिस्कस करते हैं किस तरह हम ट्रेंडिंग न्यूज़ से इंग्लिश ग्रामर रूल सीख सकते हैं, ट्रेंडिंग न्यूज़ एंड रीडिंग स्किल्स। तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। आज का टॉपिक है यूक्रेन्स एक्स एनर्जी। यूक्रेन्स एक्स एनर्जी मिनिस्टर डिटेंड डिटेंड while attempting to leave country। डिटेन का क्या मतलब होता है? टू स्टॉप समबडी फ्रॉम लिविंग ए प्लेस। किसी को जगह छोड़ने से रोकना। टू स्टॉप समबडी फ्रॉम लिविंग ए प्लेस। डिटेन मीन्स यूक्रेन्स एक्स एनर्जी मिनिस्टर डिटेंड while attempting to leave country। Attempting means to try to do something. Next is a former energy minister in Ukraine has been detained। Has been detained। टेंस की बात करें तो प्रेजेंट परफेक्ट है। A former energy minister in Ukraine has been detained। डिटेन का मतलब होता है टू स्टॉप somebody from living a place while attempting to leave the country। Authorities have said। German Galushenko, who was out, forced out of his government role last year after being among officials named a corruption scandal, was reportedly apprehended while on a train leaving Ukraine. It is nuclear where he intends to travel to. Next. He was one of several government figures. He was one of several government figures implicated. Implicate means involved. Implicated means involved in an alleged $100 million embezzlement scheme in November. The scandal threatened to engulf Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky's administration. Engulf means to cover. The scandal threatened to engulf Ukraine The scandal threatened to engulf Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky administration, which swept to power. Which swept to power means easily won the election. Which swept to power before Russia's full-scale invasion. Invasion means attack. On the promise to root out corruption. Root out means destroy completely. He was one of several government figures implicated in an alleged $100 million embezzlement scheme in November. The scandal threatened to engulf Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky's administration, which swept to power before Russia's full-scale invasion on the promise to root out corruption. Next is Zelensky's Chief of Staff Andriy Yermak, his closest advisor throughout the war, resigned after his home was searched. After his home was searched. Neither the president Neither the president nor Yermak have been accused of any wrongdoing. The scandal has, however, increased pressure from the US to hold elections, which have been suspended since the start of the war in 2022 due to provisions in Ukraine's constitution. Next. The National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine, short version is NABU, said in a statement on Sunday that its detectives means investigator, had detained the former energy minister while crossing the state border. As part of the Midas case, it did not name Galushchenko explicitly. Explicitly means clearly. But he has been named by several prominent Ukrainian media organizations. Next. Galushchenko was briefly justice minister. Galushchenko was briefly justice minister, a post he held when he was told by Zelensky to resign in November. Having served as energy minister for 3 years prior means earlier. For 3 years prior to that, his successor means someone that comes after another person. His successor, Svitlana Hrainchuk, also resigned after being implicated in the scandal. NABU gave no further details on Galushchenko's detention, but said it would provide updates in due course. Radio Free Europe reports that he was being transported to Kiev for further questioning after border guards were told to alert the authorities if he attempted to flee. Flee means to run away. Attempted to flee. A massive anti-corruption probe dubbed Operation Midas was the culmination means end of something. Was the culmination of 15 months of investigating NABU and Ukraine's other anti-corruption body, the Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office said. They accused several people of orchestrating a scheme to embezzle Embezzle means to steal money. To embezzle means to steal money. Accused means blamed. They accused several people of orchestrating a scheme to embezzle money in Ukraine's energy sector, including at the national nuclear operator Energoatom. Galushenko was among those alleged to have systematically collected kickbacks from Ener- Energoatom contractors worth between 10% and 15% of contract values. Next. The anti-corruption bodies also said the huge sums had been laundered. The anti-corruption bodies also said the huge sums had been laundered in the scheme and published photographs of bags full of cash. Laundered means to move money that somebody has got illegally. Launder means to move money that somebody has got illegally. In the scheme and published photographs of bags full of cash, the funds were then transferred outside Ukraine, including to Russia. NABU said Galushenko previously said he would defend himself against the accusation. Defend means to protect someone from danger. He would defend himself against the accusations. Next. Former Deputy Prime Minister Oleksiy Cherenshaw was arrested in November on suspicion of illicit enrichment. Illicit means illegal. Enrichment, having already been charged with abuse of office. Timur Mindich, a businessman and a co-owner of Zelensky's former TV studio Kvartal 1995, reportedly fled the country after he was flagged as a suspect. Flagged means pointed out, and fled means first form is flee, means to run away. Next. That the figures were accused of enriching themselves from Ukraine's energy sector caused particular outrage domestically. Outrage means angry. That the figures were accused of enriching themselves from Ukraine's energy sector caused particular outrage domestically. As the scandal broke, as Russia stepped up attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure ahead of a bitterly cold winter. The former Soviet Union member has long been plagued by issues of corruption. Plagued means annoy. The former Soviet Union member has long been plagued by issues of corruption, which have continued despite NABU and SAP operating for a decade. Cracking down on corruption is seen as a key requirement for Ukraine joining the EU. Next. China confirms visa-free travel for UK and Canadian nationals. China confirms China confirms visa-free travel for UK and Canadian nationals. Next. UK and Canadian national will be able to travel to mainland China for up to 30 days without a visa from 17 February. UK and Canadian nationals will be able to travel to mainland China for up to 30 days without a visa from 17 February. China's foreign minister said visa-free entry would be permitted for tourism, business, or visits to family and friends. With the policy set to stay in effect initially until 31st December, it follows Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer's official visit to China last month, where he and Chinese President Xi Jinping agreed travel rules would be relaxed. Next. Sir Keir said the agreement would make it easier for businesses to expand to China. Though critics say Downing Street's push to reset relations with Beijing overlooks human rights and national security concerns. Sir Keir said the agreement would make it easier for businesses to expand to China, though critics say Downing Street's push to reset relations with Beijing overlooks human rights and national security concerns. Announcing the policy's start date on Sunday, China's foreign ministry said the scheme would further facilitate people-to-people exchanges between China and other countries. The move brings rules for UK and Canada passport holders into line with 50 other countries, including France, Germany, Italy, Australia, and Japan. Hundreds of thousands of British people could potentially benefit from change, with around 6,20,000 traveling to China in 2024. In 2024, according to the Office for National Statistics. Next, during his official visit to China in January, Sir Keir said British businesses had been crying out for ways to grow their footprints in China. Xi and Sir Keir also agreed to defend trade relations in services, healthcare, green technology, and finance, though no sweeping free trade agreement was announced. The visit, which was the first by a British Prime Minister since Theresa May in 2018, was criticized by some opposition figures. Next. shortly before heading to China. Heading to means going to. Heading means heading to means going. Shortly before heading to China, Sir Keir's government approved plans for a major new Chinese embassy in central London, despite opponents claiming it could be used as a base for spying and pose security risks. Spy means to see. Next. Bondi criticized after saying all Epstein files have been released. Criticize means censure. Next. The US Department of Justice, short version is DOJ, has said it has released all of the files required by the Epstein Files Transparency Act, but lawmakers have argued the release is insufficient. The letter sent to members of the US Congress on Saturday from US Attorney General Pam Bondi had and her deputy said all documents held by the DOJ had been released and contained a list of names appearing in the files. Next. Kentucky Republicans representatives Thomas Massey, who co-wrote means write something together with another person, who co-wrote the law, called for the DOJ to also release internal memos outlining past decisions on whether to change Jeffrey Epstein and his associate millions of new files relating to the late sex offender Epstein were released by the DOJ early this month. Next. In the letter, Bondi and her deputy Todd Blanche wrote, in accordance with the requirements of the Act and as described in various department submissions to the courts of the Southern District of Newark, assigned to the Epstein and Maxwell prosecution and related orders. The department released all records, documents, communications, and investigative materials in the possession of the department that relate to any of 9 different categories. Next. No records were withheld. No records were withheld from the DOJ's release on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. The letter added, the individuals listed in the letter include people who are or were a government official or politically exposed person, and whose name appeared at least once in the files, the letter says.